All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to I'll name this segment later. GTG spits that grease, so on and so forth. Title forever in the works. Should be an interesting recording week for me. Maybe. we'll see. It's still kind of early to tell. But a lot to talk about. A lot of nonsense as it pertains to Pokemon. I still need to catch up on, as well as some other stuff. Like there's a lot more going on than just Pokemon, and I don't want a lot of that to get lost in the shuffle. But don't worry, I'm on top of it. But in any case, ladies and gentlemen, we have a sponsor, and that's always a good thing. So if you guys ever want to sponsor a show, i.e. give a title for the show, feel free to leave it down in the comment section below, and it may very well make it into one of these. With that being said, big ups to Medusa Jr., who has voted for Gout times at Snort Mount High. Big ups. Big ups. I appreciate Medusa, and everybody shows up to the streams too. I very much appreciate it. I very much appreciate it. So big ups and welcome to Gout times at Snort Mount High. So if the title hasn't given me away just yet, we're going to be speaking on, let's see here, DSP and his proudest moment in the FGC, and all of the years that he's attended Battle by the Bay, which eventually led to EVO, or eventually became EVO. Okay. DSP obviously values his time in the FGC more than anything. Truth be told, if it wasn't for the FGC, you wouldn't have DSP on fucking YouTube. If you really think about it in the grand scheme of things. Even though his first big thing was Spider-Man, he really went to YouTube, to be honest with you, as something to supplement his lack of attention, his lack of appreciation, his lack of recognition from the FGC. That's the only reason why YouTube exists. He was addicted to the FGC. Hear me when I say this. He was addicted to the FGC. He couldn't get his fix, so he came to YouTube to get it here. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. You can show up to my next live stream and tell me that I'm wrong. But that's really what it is. That's really what it comes down to. With that being said, he had a lot riding on the FGC and what it was. EVO 2005. He doesn't use it as his proudest moment because we all mock the shit out of it. But the reality is that was the cornerstone of his accomplishments in life for over a decade. This whole thing now about I won qualifiers, or I won EVO East or EVO West and all. And back in the day, it was that no, I placed 4th place at EVO 2005. He was the number 1 ranked North American player that year, and no one will be able to take that away from him. He said that for years. Like I said, over a decade. Didn't even bring up the qualifier stuff. All of that was an afterthought. All of that was an afterbirth. It was really, 4th place at 2005. So that he drove himself in debt. His whole life revolved around that. He was completely and utterly encompassed in the FGC. That's why he has so much resentment against it now, even though he's so desperate to get back in. So there's that. And then his years at Battle by the Bay and then EVO, it's him trying to cement himself as some type of OG or whatever. It doesn't matter. He went to a tournament, he went to a bunch of tournaments, and he didn't accomplish shit. So who cares? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you're still kind of a tourist, if you will. You know what I mean? And truth be told, I don't think you really had any friends in the FGC. I think there were people who were willing to be your friend. But I think you, just by your nature, ended up alienating those situations. And now they don't even care to be mad at you. You're just an afterthought. You know what I'm saying? You're just somebody that was there in their life and they moved on. You know what I'm saying? And I think DSP can't handle that. I think that hurts him more than anything. In any case, whatever. Let's go ahead and whatever. Suffer, Phil, suffer. So let's go ahead and jump into this, see what we can pull out of it and have a good time with it either which way. So let's go ahead and get the ball rolling here. All right. So let's see here. First off, let's give some introductions. Big ups to Raw Phil. Big ups, big ups. And let's see. Big ups to Diggs. And I should have an insert for Diggs soon. All he has to do is pick his goddamn profile picture and then I can get you up here. So or pick a profile picture. I don't care what you do, but get something so I can get this going with your shit. Let's see here. So Darkside Phil speaks on his proudest FGC moment and all the years that he attended Battle by the Bay and EVO. This is from June 1st of 2026, our current year of Gout, the Doubt, and the Snout. You guys know how that all plays out. Okay, without further ado, here we go.
What is the proudest moment of my Street Fighter career? Proudest? Like, here's the thing. I didn't play Street Fighter to be proud, right? For me, okay, when you are playing at a high level and you have a really tense, close match, okay, you get a level of enjoyment at that level of competition. Like, when you finish a game, you're like, wow, that was a fun, competitive, close game, and it went really well. Even if you won or lost, you feel like, wow, that was cool. That was something that was worth the time and effort to put in, you know, to learn the game at that level and to...
So you were proud of that moment then? You were proud of all the time and effort that you put into it to result in that moment then, right? Is that what you're saying? Like, why are you trying to make it sound like you're above the shit? Because you're clearly not. It's it's one of the highlights of your life and shit. You'll never get past that, or you'll probably never be any better than that. That's why you keep chasing it. That's why he keeps playing fighting games. He doesn't play fighting games because he loves it. He does it because he's chasing after some former glory that he never had. So that's the reality of that.
Really, you know, show off what that game is capable of at that competitive level. But notably, I don't think that there was ever one moment where I was like, oh, this is my proudest moment. I don't think that way. Like, I've won multiple tournaments. I placed at EVO. It's not a big deal.
I mean, locals are locals. I don't know if that even means anything in some little hole in the wall spot that you're at. If you want to talk about all the big tournaments that he's gone to and he's allegedly done well at, okay, let's talk brass tacks. Let's go by what we know. He's gone to a major in Chicago, didn't win it. He went to, I don't think he said that he went to a tournament in Maryland, but I can't track that down. That doesn't mean it didn't happen, despite the fact that DSP is a pathological liar. It just means that I haven't found it yet. So the verdict's out on that. He went to the one in Atlanta, final round, didn't win it. Went to the one in Texas Showdown, didn't win it. Let's see here. He went to ECC a couple of years, didn't win any of those and whatnot. And I think one year ECC became East Coast EVO East, and that's when he beat Justin in Super Turbo that year. So what tournaments did you win? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, outside of the qualifiers. And then let's go ahead and talk about that. He didn't even win all those qualifiers. He chased qualifiers for damn near 2 years, right? And didn't even win all of them. He placed high enough to be seeded, but he didn't win them. And then for whatever reason, I know why he did it, but whatever. He kept going to all these, he went to all these qualifiers thinking that he was gatekeeping, which is what he was doing. But the reality is he thought that if he got enough seating, it would push him higher and higher in the bracket because he's a retard and he didn't understand how the seating system worked. He thought if you keep compounding seedings, if he kept placing high enough, which I think was top 8, I think anybody that was in the top 8 would get seating and whatnot. So he kept going to him, putting himself further and further into debt, and it didn't mean anything. They took all of his seedings and gave it to other people. He literally only got one and still failed. So explain to me how that works. And then if you're talking about your little mall tournaments where you were chasing fucking 12 and 14-year-old girls, you remember that, Phil? Is that what you were doing? Or if you're talking about these other little hole in the wall spots you were doing, you didn't win none of them. You didn't win shit. And then you want to talk about doing, oh, well, I organize tournaments or I help run tournaments. You helped run ECC and you damn near drove that into the ground. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But because that was, for any of you who've watched Alphaism Radio, he actually got confronted on that. Because he sat there, this idiot fucking sat there and caused the beef with the Tekken community and the Guilty Gear community. And those guys were going to run a mud show against his ass. A mud show is basically running opposition on the same, was running an opposing tournament or opposition on the same weekend as the tournament DSP was helping in air quotes. And cooler heads ended up prevailing and other people, not DSP, other people came in and smoothed shit out so the Tekken community and the Guilty Gear community would show up, because if not, it would have been fucked. Here's the thing though, DSP wanted an all Capcom tournament. He wanted only the big 4, which is Marvel vs. Capcom 2, CVS 2, Third Strike, and Super Turbo. So some people theorize, I'm one of them, that he actually tried to drive them out. And then when he was privy to what the numbers were, meaning of attendance, and then when other people figured out what the numbers and everything were, they were like, oh shit, we need to shut him the fuck up before he screws everything up. So there's that. But is DSP going to tell you that though? No, he's not. But like I said, you can go to Alphism Radio and you can actually hear that. It was like JS Master. I'm pretty sure that was the Tekken guy. And then he was beefing with some guy. He was beefing with the Guilty Gear community and shit. Because he always looked at it as, oh, it's just an anime-y type game. No one cares about. It's not a real fighting game. All that other ignorance that DSP's known for.
You know what I mean? It was a fun hobby and everything, but it was never like, oh my God, this was who I am and I'm so proud of myself. So.
But you literally went in debt. Like, he went in debt going to tournaments. He went in debt buying peripherals, right, for like buttons and extra sticks to help run tournaments, in air quotes. He bought multiple arcade sticks and tried to make it do a custom arcade business out of it. All of this shit, but he never was that committed to it. He didn't care that much about it. All right, bruh.
No, there were no tournaments for the X-Men Children of the Atom where I was. Basically, the Versus series of fighting games.
They do have side tournaments for those things, though. He's not lying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it may have not been big enough in his area, which just goes to show how small the Connecticut, like, fighting scene was. But, like, they did have side tournaments for it. They did in New York. They did in Maryland. They did in Midwest. I'm sure the West Coast definitely did it. Just because his little spot didn't have it didn't mean other people didn't.
Wasn't taken seriously until Marvel vs. Capcom 1. Like, even though they were very...
But you got to remember, you have to really remember, when DSP describes these situations to you, he's only doing it through his lens. And his lens is very, very small. He very much has tunnel vision, if you will. You have to really remember that when he talks about stuff in the past. And I'm being told, right, that Mike Hollow, or there's rumblings that Mike Hollow might want to interview DSP. I'm going to see what's what about that and whatnot. Supposedly, like, there's a clip or something floating around on that. And whatever, that's probably not going to end up happening in the same way that the button check one may never happen. I'm going to say may never happen. I could be wrong. But those two things might not happen. And the reason why is because DSP has a lot to answer for. Not just on the internet, but for the FGC as a whole. And he's not going to want to answer them questions. He's not going to want to answer those questions. Or he's going to misremember some shit. I can't blame him for that. I misremember some shit. Or he lies. Or he's just going to outright lie. And then Mike or Ernesto will be able to go back and find out in real time and get that shit cleared up. And then he's stuck there. So there's way too much that DSP has to pick on, or pick at, if you will, because he's very much like a scab. Don't pick at your scabs, by the way, it's disgusting. But he is very much a scab that can be picked at for anything that he says, and he knows it. And outside of the paranoia that he's developed over the side scroller interview and some of the other things, he's not going to want to answer for that, because DSP, and I promise you when I say this, as malicious as this is going to sound, DSP likes people around him who are young and who are ignorant. Young in age, where he feels like his age can lord over them, a groomer, if you will. And on top of that, he likes them ignorant. He doesn't like them knowing a lot about his bullshit, so he can paint the narrative the way he wants to paint it. Which is telling, to be honest with you. And if any of you guys disagree with that statement, really think about what I said and whatnot, and tell me that doesn't fall into DSP's archetype. That's not a pattern of behavior that he hasn't exhibited. Don't worry, I'll wait.
Popular at arcades and things. There never really were tournaments or anything in my area until the era of MVC1, and then tournaments started to become prominent. So I never really played anything competitively really before that. What kind of car do I drive? A Toyota. Nothing expensive. And at this point, it's almost 10 years old, and it's still fine. Like, I've been driving it for almost 10 years now, and it doesn't really...
They barely drive it.
Have anything wrong with it.
Well, Kat drives it. Kat has probably driven that car more in the last few years, in the years that she's lived with DSP, than DSP or the previous owner has when they actually driven it. I'm making some big assumptions here. I'm reaching on that. But she's putting way more mileage on that car than DSP has.
At all. No problem. So I'll keep driving it until I need a new car.
Which is wild to me too. Like, the amount of money that you make, and you never thought about buying a second car and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm surprised he never did that. But he don't go nowhere, and he probably doesn't want to drive himself if he can even drive at this point, because he's blind and he can't even see. So there's that.
When does the game typically start? Probably about another 10 minutes. Usually we hang out for about an hour on the morning show, and then we jump into gameplay.
Massive fucking time waster. Holy shit. Massive fucking time waster. Holy shit. Sometime today, Phil. Sometime today.
How many EVO events have I attended? I attended the first EVO. And then I attended... Well, first of all, I attended them before they were called EVO. There used to be a West Coast tournament called the B Series, and I went to B5, which was the final one. So that was like the precursor of EVO.
Okay, so he didn't go to all the B5s. You know what I'm saying? He went to the very last B5, or the last Battle by the Bay, I should say, which was B5 before it transitioned over to EVO. Because Scott, that other fellow from Connecticut that DSP sided the profit off of him when he died, he had gone to all those B5s, and you can actually find the footage of that. And you can see Scott in them. And that and John and Howard both acknowledged that too.
Then I was at the first EVO. Then I was at EVO, what was it, 2004? 2005? Whatever one it is that I got fourth place. I don't even remember which one that was.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, what's your proudest moment in the fighting games? Oh, I don't have one. And then you sat there and preached of you being fourth at EVO 2005 for over a decade. But all of a sudden in 2026, you brand new to shit. Sure, that makes sense.
I think it was 2005. It was 2005. So then I went to EVO 2000. Well, at EVO 2006, I went to the East Coast EVO, and I won.
You were living on the East Coast, you idiot. You must have, you forgot where you were living at in 2006. You literally were living in the East Coast, Phil.
I actually won the whole tournament, and then I went to the Nationals, and then 2007.
And lost. That's why he doesn't have a shit to say about that.
I went to almost every single EVO qualifier. So I went to the East Coast, the West Coast, the Midwest, the Texas, and I placed at all of them.
I thought, but see, that's funny. You go back a couple months ago, he told you he won all of them. Now, all of a sudden, he wants to go ahead and correct it because assholes like me corrected him already. And now he wants to say that he qualified. Like I said, anybody who was in top 4 or top 8, I want to tell you it was top 8, they got qualifiers. Like you got seeding, I should say. So he didn't need the win to be seeded. All he had to do was get 8th, or at least be in top 8. I'm pretty sure it was top 8. And he still lost at the big dance, which is the only thing that matters. So him saying, "Oh, I went to the Nationals," which is basically EVO World, and he lost there too. Like he never was able to replicate his placing. He never did better. He just did worse. Like shit. I think the years after 2005, well, even before 2005, actually. He wasn't even in top 8. 2005 was his highest placing. After that, he didn't even make it into top 8. He didn't even make it into top 16 or barely. You know what I'm saying? And that's why people like myself, hyper fixate on that fucking PS1 port of fucking Super Turbo. If it wasn't for that buggy garbage piece of shit fucking port, DSP would have never got 4th. End of story. That's just the reality of it. You don't have to like it. It's true. It's true.
Like every qualifier, I had a spot for EVO Nationals. And then I went to EVO Nationals.
And lost.
And that was the last time I went to EVO. So if you're actually counting it, the first EVO, EVO 2005, EVO East, EVO Nationals, EVO East, EVO West, EVO North, EVO South, EVO Nationals. I've been to 9 EVO.
That's crazy. You blew all that money and it didn't place. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. You wasted your life like that for all those years and didn't accomplish shit. And then he doesn't even have any interesting stories coming out of any of that. All he has is hater shit. Guys that he was hating on or guys he thinks were hating on him. Or threats of violence that he made and then someone went ahead and called his bluff. And then he sat there and pissed himself while, you know what I'm saying, on his knees saying that I'm an alcoholic and I'm sorry, you know. The fuck, bruh? If that's literally a definition of a waste of life, that's crazy.
There you go.
Fucking crazy. You should be ashamed of yourself.
That's a complete lie. Enjoy your band. Someone says, "Oh, he never won anything." Complete lie. Go fuck yourself.
He didn't win anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you won an East Coast qualifier and that was it. And I guess you won some locals. And you won some gay ass fucking mall tournament against a 12-year-old kid or some bullshit or whatever that was. And tried to paint that shit like that was some type of epic battle. That's crazy. That's crazy. A grown ass man sitting there saying, "I'm having this epic battle with some kid at a mall in a fighting game." That's fucking wild.
You can't erase history, bitch.
That's fucking wild. Fucking wild. You should be ashamed of yourself. Jesus Christ. It's embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing.
Gumbo Jones, complete lie. Now you're
Holy
got a
crap.
nice band, caught one. He says, oh, you only got fourth because most of the top competitors boycotted it.
Which is true. Which is legitimately true. Or they took that shit half-ass. You know what I'm saying? He was the one who sat there and spent multiple weeks grinding it out until he could find the cheapest tactic possible. You know what I'm saying? Hell, Japanese players didn't even play that fucking version of the game and they beat him clean. You know what I'm saying? So what the fuck? And everybody else, they just didn't care. And this is the thing that most people forget about. After his little fourth place bullshit, right? There was an actual quote unquote official tournament up in a hotel room, right? It was, I think it was on some Cigar Bob's makeshift cabinet, right? Excuse me. And he went up there and he got cleaned up. He got mollywopped. He got beasted. So what you gonna say then? Now that everybody's on a port that everybody's used to playing on and everything was on equal grounds. And what was DSP's excuse? Oh, well, I was playing all day, or, you know, I made it into top 8, or I was in top 4. No. Most of the guys that were in top 8 were up there. Watson was up there. John Choi for sure was up there. And whatnot, what happened? They weren't bitching and complaining about it. Makes you think.
Only Alex Valle boycotted it. Everyone else played.
That's not true. There's other people who boycotted it too. There was other people who shitted on that port too. So it wasn't just Alex Valle.
Mike,
And Alex Valle literally was like the voice of the community at that time. So like DSP loves underselling him too. Like that dude was literally the voice of the community at that time.
Watson, Jason Wilson, John Choi, they all lost. I beat them. I beat them all that tournament. So nice try, bitch.
Bish. So sad.
It's funny how people love to rewrite history
So
for their
sad.
own benefit or their own.
No one cares. Like only idiots like me care. Like legitimately, no one else gives a fuck. Even amongst DSP detractors, I'm probably one of the few people that actually give a shit about this. No one cares. And those guys in the FGC ain't let this shit go a long time ago. Speaking of which, I'm putting a bounty out on this. If it's true, if it's legitimately true that Mike Watson actually reached out to DSP on YouTube Messenger or Google Plus or whatever the fuck it was to apologize, someone send me the sound clip of that happening. Or a tweet that Mike Watson can confirm that he actually did that. Because for whatever reason, for some reason, that's circling around a little bit, but yet no one seems to have nothing on it. So like, if someone has the tweet or someone has a soundbite of it, just shoot it to me, please. That's all I'm asking. Please shoot it to me if it exists and whatnot, because I haven't seen it. Not just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean it exists, but I haven't seen it, and I haven't met anybody yet who says that they've heard that. It sounds like it was something that just came off Reddit or some shit or whatever. And don't get me wrong, Reddit can be right too, but like I haven't heard that. So like I said, if there's a soundbite or a tweet of it, just let me know, please. Like I said, I'll pull it up. I will pull it up, but I don't think. But that's a lie that DSP, until there's evidence of it, I think that was a lie that DSP made to make himself feel better. And of course, DSP don't mind lying on the living because he damn sure don't mind lying on the dead. So I don't think that happened. But like I said, if someone has a tweet or a soundbite of it, let me know. Thank you.
Twisted reasons, but that's not what fucking happened. Big Mac, how you doing? 37 months as a member. He says, hey, Phil, you gonna try the Dust Bloods? Yes, I will try Dust Bloods when it comes out.
Whatever that means. I'm sure your wife is pretty accustomed to a Big Mac, ain't she? She has about as many folds or layers as the Big Mac does, so there's that. And if she really is on Ozempic, she probably has as much. Jesus Christ, the amount of loose skin that woman might have must be ridiculous. That's crazy when you think about that in hindsight. Damn. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy work. That's crazy work when you think about that shit. Holy shit. And what the hell is wrong with you wearing these like ill-fitted shirts? Like, even if you're buying stuff off Amazon, you don't even know your own size? You're a grown-ass man. God damn, you really do need your mother to take care of you, don't you? Jesus. You might as well just move Linda in. Give Kat a break. Holy shit. Absolutely fucking useless, bro. Can't even clothe himself.
Oh, I do ignore the nonsense because they do this all day, every day.
Sure.
But they caught a nice band because they, they had to open their fucking mouths and try to spout complete nonsense and lies, and I'm not for that on my stream. Sorry. Go to your.
Why don't you pull? Here's the thing that someone should ask him. Hey, if you really did do these things, why don't you just pull the matches up? They're on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he could just go to Pepe's actual site and look through the archives, but he can't do that because he's too stupid. But he could just go ahead to Pepe's channel and Preppy's channel and just go there, and he could pull them up there. Literally, all those matches are up there. Why don't he do that? I'm asking for a friend.
Fucking, circle jerking butt buddy stream over there, and you could talk about it over there, not here.
Someone sounds hurt. Someone sounds upset. Someone sounds upset. Look at you. He's got like a permanent scowl. Like, I thought, you know what I'm saying? Like, I thought you were incredibly miserable and angry before your wife came into your life. It seems to me, and this is just my own personal theory, by the way, I honestly think his time with Kat has made him more angry, to be honest with you. Because he's tried so very hard to sell her like she's a certain type of way, and she's not. Because if you really think about how he describes her, at times, he's kind of just describing Panda. Which is ironic in some ways. Which is absolutely ironic. Oh boy. Anything else? That's it, Phil?
Yes, that's correct. I am the best American Street Fighter player, hands down. Overall,
okay.
Better than the rest.
Sure.
Absolutely true.
Sure.
No Americans.
People mocked his ass back then. Keep that in mind. People mocked his ass back then. Yeah, there's some ass pats for him on SRK around that time, saying, yeah, congratulations for taking fourth or whatever the fuck. But like, after like a week or two, when you're still running around spouting about that bullshit, you put that shit in your signature, which is down at the bottom under your posts. Every time you post that shit, your signature will pop up. And say that you have this, that, and the third. That shit was obnoxious. It was fourth. It was fucking fourth. And why didn't back then he list all of his other accomplishments and other tournament wins? He didn't do that. Why was that? Makes you think.
Are better than me. That's right.
Holy fuck, bro.
Damn straight.
Sad, bro. Just sad. Unfortunate. Unfucking fortunate. I swear he does this shit just to waste time on purpose. He don't have shit to say, so he just sits around and waits for someone in chat to say something to him. That's crazy.
What character did I place for my fourth place win? Mostly Vega, but I used Balrog.
Because Vega was cheap as shit. And he still got outbeaten though. He still got outplayed, I should say. That's fucking crazy, bruh.
DJ and Vega in that tournament. But the end matches were all Vega.
He took fourth. Took one of the cheapest players in the game. It took one of the cheapest characters in the game and only got fourth. That's crazy. That's so crazy. Oh, you should be ashamed of yourself, Phil. You should be ashamed of yourself. Holy crap. Oh my god.
Reggie, I have no idea what you're talking about.
He really doesn't have anything to say. Wow. He's utterly useless without his chat. You guys know that? Notice that shit? Like, he can't function without it.
I have no idea how to pronounce your name. C3LT76 says, evening from the UK. How's your day going? So some of your Castlevania play. I love old school revamps. Yeah, I can't wait to play more of it. Tomorrow night.
Yeah, we all know that didn't play out well. Like shit, I thought he was gonna actually rage quit that. Not even wage quit. I thought he was gonna rage quit that shit. All right, so there you go on that. There's DSP giving his hot take on his FGC career and whatnot. Just a sad display all around, to be honest with you. It's a sad display. Big ups to Medusa Jr. Okay, so final thoughts, and let you get you guys out of here. So to be honest, it really just kind of comes down to the fact that like there's nothing to be proud of. Like, he spent all those years talking about fourth and all this nonsense, and it didn't really mean anything in the end. Especially, and I want you guys to really think about this, once more FGC guys really started to make a name for themselves on YouTube and Twitch, that's when he starts to scale a lot of that bullshit back, to be honest. not just because Max was always here, so we can't count Max, but when Justin, Yipes, Sanford, and then some of the generation that followed them up, once those guys really started to come online and become prominent as content creators and streamers, while also being heavy on the tournament scene, DSP ended up scaling that shit back because no one cares. That's just the reality of it. No one cares. And even the guys that were around at that time aren't going to argue with you about, you know, who plays here, this, that. They let that shit go a long ass time ago, bro. They let that shit go a long ass time ago. The only person who holds on to that shit is DSP. And the reality is, the arcade scene and Street Fighter in particular is the only thing that he really has in his life. It's the only thing that he ever did, and he actually accomplished anything. Even YouTube, to be honest with you, I still think in some ways fails in comparison to the FGC days, to be honest. But yet again, as I started this off with, the only reason why YouTube even exists is because of the FGC. If DSP felt like he was getting the recognition and the ass pats and the acknowledgement and camaraderie, and if he felt like he was actually part of something, right, he would have stuck around. You know what I mean? He would have stuck around. If he felt like if every post he didn't make was being mocked and ridiculed because it was retarded, because it sounded retarded, because it was retarded, then he would have stuck around. I mean, hell, even now he wants to participate in it, but he's so much of a laughingstock and a joke that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, there's no point in even bringing him in. He's an afterthought. You know what I'm saying? And every time he tries to insert himself into something, he comes across as bitter, right? Like the whole arcade cabinet situation on Twitter. All DSP had to say is, hey man, that's a great setup and that's it. But DSP can't do that. He can't do that. Everything needs to be a backhanded type of slap or whatever the fuck, because he can't be a decent human being, because he's not a decent human being. On top of the fact, he don't know how to talk to regular people. He knows how to talk down to people. He knows how to talk at people. He doesn't know how to talk to people. There's a difference. There's a massive fucking difference. So there's that. And so now he's isolated and no one cares, and no one should. Fuck him, to be honest with you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. This has been I'll name this segment later. GTG spits that grease, or Gout times at Snort Mount High. Big ups. And take care of yourselves, people. Don't be a dent. Okay? Don't be a dent. And no, don't think. No, that DSP has earned his failure. DSP has earned the animosity against him and his irrelevance. He's done everything in his power to maintain it. So it must mean something, to be honest. Because you would think a smarter person would have let the bullshit go and try to change in some type of way, shape, or form. DSP's never done that. He never could. And that's why he never did. Take care, people. Take care. Later.